Have you ever felt like you were sleeping next to someone you no longer recognized? Like one day, they were your dream come true, showering you with attention and sweet words, and then, almost overnight, you found yourself sharing a bed with what felt like a total stranger. If so, you're not alone. Today's topic pulls back the curtain on a very specific set of disturbing behaviors that many people in toxic, narcissistic relationships experience in the bedroom. And I want to warn you, these stories are intense, because we're dealing with individuals who take emotional and psychological manipulation to another level. Let me introduce you to Sarah, a bright and caring woman who used to believe she had hit the relationship jackpot. In the beginning, her partner was charming and considerate, he seemed to hang on her every word, he even brought her flowers, just because. Yet, over time, small cracks started to show in his perfect facade. Eventually, those little cracks expanded into giant fault lines, revealing some truly unsettling behaviors behind closed doors, especially when it came to intimacy. Sarah would lie awake at night, wondering what had happened to that loving partner. Why was she constantly feeling like her body, her emotions, and her needs were being turned into a bargaining chip? How had the once tender moments they shared transformed into humiliating power games? Today, we're diving straight into 5 weird sexual habits of a narcissist, the kinds of habits that leave you feeling unsettled, used, and deeply confused about where you stand in your own relationship. By the end of this video, you'll see the sinister patterns behind each habit, how they operate, and why they're far more about control than about genuine love or closeness. If you're ready to face these uncomfortable truths head-on, please leave a quick comment right now saying, "I'm ready." It might feel daunting, but acknowledging that readiness is the first step toward understanding, and ultimately, healing. Before we break down these 5 strange sexual habits, let's clarify something critical: what exactly is a narcissist? Contrary to popular misconception, a narcissist isn't just someone who's a little self-absorbed or loves to take selfies. In the clinical sense, narcissists often display a lack of empathy, a deep-seated need for control, a sense of superiority, and an overwhelming desire for admiration. They can appear charming and attentive at first, but this charm often serves as a hook, something to draw you in. Many well-known personalities in Hollywood and the entertainment industry have been rumored or even confirmed to exhibit these traits. You might recall reading about a high-profile couple whose public fights were overshadowed by intense reconciliations, only for new allegations to surface of emotional abuse behind closed doors. The pattern is startlingly familiar in many of these stories: big blowouts, drama, and behind it all, a sense that one partner always seems to hold an eerie power over the other. Sarah's experience echoes many accounts from men and women who've discovered they were dealing with a narcissistic partner, someone who used physical closeness as just another weapon in their arsenal. And while each relationship is unique, there are certain patterns in the bedroom that come up over and over again when dealing with narcissists. These patterns can turn what should be a mutual, loving act into something harmful, confusing, and even traumatizing. Before we jump in, if you've ever read a headline or news story that made you suspect a celebrity relationship was deeply toxic, type "celeb drama" in the comments. Let's start with habit number 1, approach-avoidance. Imagine you decide to be spontaneous. Maybe you set up a romantic evening with candles, soft music, and a cozy environment. You approach your partner, excited to share an intimate moment, and they shut you down cold. Suddenly, they might say they're not in the mood, they're tired, or they make you feel like you're being pushy just for asking. It might happen once, twice, 3 times. Eventually, you start questioning your own attractiveness or even your right to initiate intimacy. But then, the tables turn. When they want sex, there is no choice in the matter. You're expected to comply instantly, regardless of how you feel or what you might be going through. If you dare to say, "Hey, I'm exhausted today," or "I'm in pain," or "I'm just not feeling it," you get met with anger, guilt trips, or even threats. That's exactly what happened to Sarah. One painful memory stands out in her mind: she'd just undergone minor surgery and had been advised to rest for a few weeks. But her partner demanded sexual fulfillment a mere few days into her recovery. When she hesitated, he threw out lines like, "Fine, I'll find someone else if you won't do it." You see, for a narcissist, denying you when you're eager and demanding when you're unwilling is a powerful control mechanism. It keeps you on edge, never knowing when they'll accept or reject your attempts at closeness. Over time, you develop a sense of insecurity and a constant worry that you're never enough. This is how they shift the power balance, by making intimacy revolve entirely around their whims and ignoring your emotional and physical well-being. If you've ever felt confused or belittled by this push and pull dynamic, comment "yes" if it resonates with you, or "no" if you've never experienced it. Your voice matters, and it might help someone else realize they're not alone. Habit number 2 is all about that adrenaline-laced pattern: make up sex right after a massive fight. Now, arguments are a normal part of any relationship. But with a narcissist, these conflicts can escalate to terrifying levels: shouting, name-calling, gaslighting, pushing you to the point of tears, desperation, or absolute fury. Then, as if on cue, they flip a switch and decide it's time to kiss and make up, in the most literal sense. Sarah remembers a specific night when she was verbally torn down for nearly an hour, criticized for her job, her looks, even her friendships. She was left sobbing, uncertain if her relationship was about to end. Out of nowhere, her partner approached her in a sudden wave of affection. "Let's forget it all happened," he said, pulling her close. Despite her raw emotional wounds, she felt cornered. Maybe if she agreed to this intimate reconciliation, he'd stop the insults. But here's the dark reality: narcissists thrive on chaos. They relish seeing you distressed, and then they get a kick out of rescuing you from that distress, often by forcing or demanding intimacy. This sequence floods your body with stress hormones, like cortisol and adrenaline, and then drowns you in a sudden rush of dopamine or oxytocin when you relent. It's a recipe for what psychologists call a trauma bond. You start associating relief and fleeting closeness with that roller coaster of negative then positive. The end result? You feel oddly addicted to the pattern, hanging on to those rare moments of tenderness or passion, instead of recognizing that you're being pulled into a cycle that erodes your mental and emotional health over time. Have you ever tried to fix a huge argument by giving into intimacy, just to keep the peace? If so, type "I get it" in the comments. Acknowledging it is the first step to breaking that cycle. Let's circle back to Sarah. After one of those knockout fights, where she was insulted and made to feel worthless, her partner suddenly switched into affection mode. With tears barely dry on her cheeks, Sarah felt pressure to accept his embrace, hoping it might magically resolve all the hurtful words. But it never truly did. The next argument was just around the corner, waiting to erupt again. We've heard rumors or read tabloid news about certain high-profile couples who go through a highly public meltdown, shouting matches in restaurants or cryptic social media fights, only to be spotted on a red carpet days later, holding hands, acting madly in love. Sometimes, from the outside, it seems they just have a dramatic flair. But behind the scenes, there could be a more insidious cycle at play: the euphoria of make-up moments overshadowing the deeper issues of power and control. If you believe that genuine love should involve real conflict resolution, respectful communication rather than forced intimacy, comment "real love" below. Let's spread the message that love is more than a cycle of hurt and make-up sex. Moving on to habit number 3, dominance in sexual positions and overall physical control. Some people might assume this is just about having a preference in the bedroom. But with a narcissist, it's not about preference or mutual pleasure. It's about making sure you know who's in charge, physically, emotionally, and psychologically. Let's get specific. Many survivors describe situations where the narcissistic partner insists on positions that essentially lock their partner into place. Maybe it's pinning arms overhead, holding legs in a way that restricts movement, or flat out preventing any reciprocal touch. The narcissist might push your hands away if you try to reciprocate. They might glare or hush you if you voice your needs. "Shoo, just let me handle it," they'll say. But it's never about mutual satisfaction, it's about them taking, them performing, them being the center of everything. Why do they do this? Because intimacy, in a healthy relationship, implies a shared vulnerability. Two people come together in a give and take. A narcissist, however, sees vulnerability as a weakness, so they replace it with control. They enjoy the thought of you being immobilized or helpless. It feeds their ego. They might brag internally, "Look at what I can make them do," or, "They're completely in my hands now." Sarah admitted that in her relationship, there were nights she felt like a human prop. He dictated her every move and scolded her if she tried to do anything spontaneously. If she mentioned feeling uncomfortable, he'd dismiss her concerns, stating, "That's just how I am. You should be grateful I'm giving you attention." Over time, she felt a sense of shame for even wanting a normal, loving physical connection. If you've ever felt more like a bystander in an intimate moment rather than an active participant, type "trapped" in the comments. It's brave to admit it, but your story could resonate with someone who desperately needs to hear they're not alone. Habit number 4 is the heavy reliance on cornography, a playful code word for adult films, far beyond normal curiosity or mutual enjoyment. There's nothing wrong with two consenting adults deciding to watch certain videos together if it enhances their relationship. But narcissists often take it to a whole different level. For them, it's not just about arousal, it's about escaping genuine emotional vulnerability. Picture this: you're physically there, open and ready to share a warm, real-life moment. Instead, they pull out their phone or turn on a laptop to watch strangers on a screen. They might even ignore you in the process. This can leave you questioning, "Am I not attractive enough? Why do they prefer a fantasy?" The narcissist may even throw subtle, or overt, jabs, "If only you looked like them," or "They know how to do it better." The real motive? Maintaining control by never allowing a true emotional bond. For Sarah, it was soul-crushing. She'd catch her partner glued to explicit material night after night, while offering her zero tenderness. When she confronted him, he'd say she was too uptight or jealous, flipping the blame and accusing her of being the problem. In reality, many narcissists use excessive corn as a shield, ensuring they never have to face the authenticity and potential emotional depth of real-life intimacy. If you've ever felt replaced by a screen or demeaned by constant comparisons to unrealistic images, comment "disconnected." No one deserves to feel like a second choice to a fantasy. Finally, habit number 5 is perhaps the most heartbreaking: a complete lack of genuine intimacy and treating you like an object. Narcissists are famous for starting relationships with a bang, lavishing you with attention, making you believe this is the most passionate, profound bond you've ever known. Maybe they whisper things like, "I've never felt this way with anyone else," or "We're soulmates." For a short while, you're on cloud 9. But as soon as they sense you're securely hooked, the real face emerges. They might suddenly go cold, withdraw affection, or become emotionally distant for weeks. Or they engage in a physical act but skip all the warmth: no kissing, no post-intimacy cuddling, no conversation about your pleasure. They use your body, then roll over and act like you aren't even there. In some reported cases, narcissistic partners refuse to look their loved one in the eyes during or after sex, effectively erasing any shred of emotional connection. Sarah found herself craving any semblance of the old times when things felt magical. She would do everything possible: buy new outfits, learn new skills, even attend therapy alone, hoping to fix what was missing in the relationship. But her partner only laughed at her efforts, occasionally mocking her for trying too hard. The message was clear: your existence is for my gratification, and when I'm done, you're irrelevant. Tragically, this repeated objectification tears down self-esteem. You might start thinking, "I must be broken, I'm not lovable enough," or "I'm failing at being a partner." But the truth? This is a deliberate strategy to keep you in a cycle of seeking their approval, always desperate for that fleeting moment of closeness they gave you in the beginning. It's a cruel emotional game that ensures you remain dependent on them. If you believe that no person should ever be treated like a disposable object, comment "respect" below. Your stand could inspire someone who feels isolated, reminding them they do deserve kindness, warmth, and genuine care. We've just taken a deep dive into 5 weird sexual habits that narcissists use to manipulate and control their partners. Approach-Avoidance: they reject you when you want intimacy, demand it when it suits them. Intense make-up sex, using arguments to create chaos, then forcing passionate reconciliations to keep you hooked. Dominance in positions, locking you into physical submission to reinforce their power. Excessive Cornography, choosing fantasy over real emotional depth, often belittling your needs. Lack of genuine intimacy, treating you as an object, devoid of actual warmth or empathy. These habits form a complex web of psychological abuse, leaving many people trapped in confusion, self-doubt, and shame. But if you find yourself relating to Sarah's story, even just a little, know this: you are not the reason they behave this way. This is part of a larger pathology, fueled by their need for control and their inability, or unwillingness, to cultivate authentic empathy. So, what can you do? First, label it, recognize and name these behaviors as emotional or sexual abuse. That clarity can be painful, but it's the first step toward reclaiming your power. Second, reach out, whether it's a mental health professional, a support group, or a close friend. Do not isolate yourself. Narcissists thrive in secrecy and your silence. Third, set boundaries, practice saying no, and be prepared for backlash. But remember, a healthy relationship respects your autonomy. If your no triggers threats or emotional blackmail, that's a major red flag. Fourth, consider safe exit strategies. If you're in a relationship with severe emotional or sexual abuse, staying might not be an option for your long-term well-being. It's a big step, and professional guidance can help. Fifth, focus on self-healing, rebuild your confidence and sense of self. Engage in therapy, journaling, meditation, or support groups. This process can be slow, but every little milestone matters. If you resonate with any of these steps, or if you're already on a healing journey, type "I deserve better" in the comments. You never know how sharing a simple statement can encourage someone else to see their own worth. Lastly, if you found this video eye-opening, please hit the subscribe button, tap the notification bell, and share this with someone who might need a wake-up call about toxic dynamics. By spreading awareness, we can empower more people to recognize the signs, break free from destructive relationships, and reclaim the love and respect they rightfully deserve. Thank you for staying with me until the end. Keep remembering, you are worthy of genuine connection, mutual respect, and a partner who cherishes your emotional and physical well-being. Until next time, take care of yourself and remember that healing is possible for you, no matter how deep the scars may feel right now.